A stunning woman captures the attention of a young man with her blonde, shining hair. Her red eyes convey certain disinterest. Her nose is thin and well-shaped, and her lips are the color of a cherry blossom. And it was in that moment that the young man realized, once and for all, that something was about to change their lives forever. It's May, where classmates gossip that a transfer student is arriving at school today. The girls are hopeful that the guy is handsome, while the boys find it strange that this is happening in the middle of the school year. Thus, the principal summons Masatora Akutsu to the classroom, and with tears in his eyes, he witnesses the class's astonishment as they lay eyes on the new guy who, despite being 16 years old, looks like a Dragon Ball Frieza who has been working in a warehouse for 25 years. Aware of the new student's condition, the principal explains that he didn't like having his head shaved and, by mistake, used his father's hair removal cream, thinking it was a hair tonic. As a fellow sufferer of baldness, the principal empathizes with the young man's plight. Next, he asks Akutsu to introduce himself, and with the confidence of an abandoned baby rat, he says, with the rhythmic cadence of death, that his hobby is strolling through pharmacies, and his favorite words are hair follicle. Finally, he vents that his recent days haven't been easy, but he hopes to make beautiful memories with everyone present. At this moment, the room becomes a sob fest followed by applause, and while all the students shout words of encouragement to the boy, inside he laughs at how pathetic humans are since none of them uncovered such a ridiculous lie. However, at that moment, the principal sees a tag coming out of the boy's head and pulls it without thinking, causing a wig to fall to the ground. Thus, the real Akutsu appears as if nothing had happened, conducted by an angelic background symphony, while the principal chides him for pulling a fast one on him. Seeing this aggressive reaction, Akutsu explains that his hair miraculously grew, and he plucks several tufts of hair to feign confusion, cursing his hair follicles, and the room glitches with that situation. However, soon the spirits calm down, and the school official asks the class to treat their new classmate well. When pointed to his seat in the room, Akutsu walks to the chair while being absolutely certain that no one suspects his true identity. In the midst of this, he is enchanted by the cuteness of a girl in the background, never imagining that a human could be so beautiful. In response to admiring looks, the girl returns a slight smile, causing Akutsu to awaken the bittersweet emotion of passion in his chest. With this, he loses rationality and control over his body, ending the journey to his seat with a broken neck style. Hours later, the boy is still distraught, and without taking his eyes off his beloved, he imagines how perfect his life would be if he had such an innocent and lovable creature by his side. He goes further, fantasizing in his head moments together with his beloved, like gaming in the dead of night, where she finally feels ready for other things. These fantasies evoke intense emotions in the young man, but he figures he can't just approach the girl outright since they barely know each other, and that could end up pushing her away. At this moment, another guy approaches the girl, calling her Lily and commenting on the pleasant breeze in this early spring. This romantic atmosphere always makes him think of her. Therefore, it would be great if they started dating. However, Lily uses her cattle scare ability, deflecting all the poor guy's advances. He panics and pleads for her to at least consider the proposal. Witnessing this humiliation, Yuba Tanagawa introduces himself to the new student and apologizes for the trouble the emotional guy, Hirota, is causing. He explains that Hirota has always been like this, declaring his love for any cute girl he encounters along the way, but lately, he seems a bit obsessed with Lily. And speaking of the devil, Hirota joins the group, mentioning that he got kicked out again, and everyone heads to the hallway to catch up. Outside, Hirota talks about how Akutsu's presentation scared the class a bit, but anything he wants to know, just ask. Seizing the opportunity, Akutsu asks who the blonde girl at the back of the room is. Hirota explains that she's Lilia Main, and she transferred to this school just before Akutsu. She's a Japanese mixed race and a Kikokushijo, Japanese who have always studied abroad until returning. Inside, Lily accepts a friend's invitation to prepare for today's piano exam, while Akutsu can't help but think about how short, cute, intelligent, and with a great personality she is, almost like more than human. Hearing this, Hirota raises his finger and suggests that Akutsu meant to say she looks like an angel. However, just hearing that word, the new student shows strong irritation, surprising his new friends. But as Akutsu is fascinated by the blonde girl, Hirota makes it clear that he will need to tank this decision since he himself has been kicked 5 times. In the first few attempts, he tried to ask calmly and politely, but as he was rejected, he started to appeal desperately, literally begging the girl to be with him. The problem is that he doesn't give up and continues humiliating himself for her attention. Therefore, the man with an unstoppable libido tries to approach Lily again, while Tanagawa holds him back, and Akutsu is impressed by how Lilia Main arouses people around her. Over time, the protagonist is heading home, devising a plan to get closer to his crush until fate makes them bump into each other on some random corner. The girl came out of a dark alley, saying she got lost and ran into Akutsu. He realizes that this is a great opportunity to talk to her for the first time, so frying his brain to think of what to say, he says, "Hi, and mentions that his name is Akatsu. He immediately curses himself inside since it's obvious that the girl already knows that, but she finds the guy's attitude amusing and introduces herself, extending her hand to him. During the greeting, Akatsu notices that Lily's sleeve is torn, and when he mentions it, Amain becomes extremely uncomfortable and tries to avoid the subject until she emphasizes that their meeting this way was fate's doing, and only that cool tea could celebrate this event properly. The sweet words of his beloved hit his heart hard, but he keeps his focus and accepts the invitation with an experienced pose. Soon, the two are walking together, and after discovering that both their parents live abroad, Lily comments on how difficult it must be for a man to live alone, as dishes don't wash themselves and no washing machine usually picks up clothes from the room. But Akatsu is a functional guy and claims he takes care of all the household chores, so Lily makes it clear that any day he could invite her to prove he's telling the truth. The girl gets distracted, crosses the street without looking properly, until a truck speeds by and threatens to run her over. Trying to save Lily, Akatsu's eyes morph into a demonic expression and he stops the truck with the strength of his muscles, leaving Lily frightened by the marks on Akatsu's face. However, inexplicably, at that moment she lets out a brief smile. Around the accident, people begin to gather and call an ambulance, but instead of staying there, Lily pulls her friend by the arm and takes him away. In a late afternoon square, he says the pain in his shoulder is gone and Lily apologizes for causing all this confusion. As the boy replies that she didn't need to worry about it, Lily feels confident enough to ask who Akatsu really is because he stopped a truck with his shoulder and those ears and eyes aren't exactly human. At that moment, Akatsu enters a cosmic hell for having slipped up and revealed his identity so soon. But as the girl didn't seem to be reacting negatively to the possibility that he's not human, he decides that maybe he can share a secret or two. So he transforms part of his body and claims to be a demon who ended up in the human world because hell is losing a war against the angels. To try to reverse the situation, Akatsu's superior decided to appoint a charismatic leader to motivate the forces of hell, and Akatsu is responsible for trying to find this leader who will turn the game around. However, he hasn't found this leadership figure yet, but he would like Lily Amain to help him on this mission, occasionally descending to hell to accompany him in this search. Even though Lily is a bit scared to know that demons really exist, she saw that Akatsu, despite being one, could also be kind enough to save her life. Still, she doesn't know how she could help as she doesn't have anything special, and maybe the people on the other side would get angry with her for some reason. Akatsu tries to convince the girl that it has nothing to do with it, that no one could get angry with someone as lovely as her. At that moment, Lily justifies her reasoning by immobilizing the boy with a magical chain, surprising him. Astounded, he asks who this girl really is, and after mocking the fact that the guy thought he could seduce her, Lily Amain releases her wings and reveals herself to be a servant of heaven, an angel. She continues to mock the demon, explaining how foolish she was to invite an enemy to hell without even realizing it. Akatsu tries to free himself from the chains, but the angel tells the boy to forget it, as these chains were manifested by her and few angels have the talent she has to create objects as resistant as she can. Nervous for having faced two demons in one day, she decides to poke the boy's eye with her finger as a form of torture. He doesn't understand why she mentioned two demons, so she explains that the tear in her sleeve was made by the demon she was defeating in the alley before meeting Akatsu. She let her guard down thinking the enemy couldn't touch her. But as he ruined Lily's clothes, she decided to humiliate the demon before exorcising him slowly. Speaking of which, now she needs to decide how to exorcise Akatsu. On the other hand, the young demon doesn't feel ashamed of being defeated by an enemy in a war. After all, he had the same intention as Lily. But as she humiliated one of his compatriots, and angels are known for acting in this cowardly way, Akatsu is willing to put this stupid angel in his place. He tears off the chains and prepares to teach Lily not to underestimate demons. Although he demonstrated strength by freeing himself, Akatsu's attacks didn't seem enough to hit Lily, as the angel could easily dodge all the attacks without much effort. Finally, still without a drop of sweat, she chains the enemy once again, but acknowledges that Akatsu is a level above the common demons she eliminated, so it will be a pity to exorcise someone like him. From this, Akatsu realized he had no way out, and as Lily summons a giant magical scythe, she asks the demon if he prefers to be erased now or if he reveals Hell's plans and leaves alive. As the boy doesn't believe the angel will spare his life, she raises the scythe to exorcise the opponent. But when he opens his eyes again, Lily had changed her mind. Instead of finishing off the demon right there, she will keep the devil under her supervision and force him to collaborate with her work. If he agrees, he gets a special collar made by Amain herself. But the stubborn one still resists and asks why the girl wants to keep him as a doormat. She uses her charm again and responds that it's all to keep them close. Jokes aside, she explains that she will need him to get what she wants. She can't disclose all the details, but if he accepts, he'll be set free. Angels cannot lie, but it's up to the guy to trust her or not. In the worst-case scenario, he'll be lying on the ground until some ill-intentioned person takes a photo of him and shares it with the world. With that, he finally decides to cooperate, but before releasing the devil, she shows that the collar talk wasn't a lie and tries to collar the guy, who resists like an angry pincher. He begs for mercy, but Lily makes it clear that she doesn't have mercy. She wraps the accessory around Akutsu's neck and threads the buckle through the hole, leaving the guy in a strange threshold between terror and satisfaction. Finally, Akutsu was under the control of the angel and couldn't return to hell as long as he was affected by the collar's effect. Next week, we'll have more of this anime as soon as the new episode is released, so go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the like button below to support this video. See you guys.